Hey, how's everybody doing? Got live stream number 11. I think may have finally got one started up without having any mistakes or something go wrong. So maybe I'm speaking too soon here, but I feel like maybe I got it after 11 tries. Finally starting to get the hang of this stuff. Old guy disc golf in the chat talking about building a discraft bag. Buzz, Zeus, and Undertaker are main three. Yeah, you could do a whole lot with just those. Trying stalkers. Haven't thrown that mold. Zone, Raptors, Luna, putting and driving, and a Fierce. Haven't thrown that yet. Just got it. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Discraft makes quite a few nice looking discs right now. Happen to fly pretty good too. Lola's a little bit sleepy right now. Went out for a pretty long walk earlier, so she's ready. Lola's ready for a midday nap. Miss Putz, that's my dog Lola. She's even got her own emote now. It's pretty psyched to see that I could get some emotes figured out. Figured Lola deserved one for sure. She is a doll. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, OG. She's a pretty good dog. Super high energy back in the day, but she's an older girl now. Like thoroughly cover myself with dog hair whenever I do that. Zeus flies a lot like my destroyers. Love the Undertaker, really dig that mold. Hey Trevor. Doth, I'm curious as to what you think of more understable forces. Do they beat out the destroyers? I found forces to just all be pretty overstable for me. I do prefer the force to an overstable destroyer, but as far as I've seen, that's pretty much the only overlap they've got. Miss Putt, should I join on YouTube if I already am a patron, whatever? I'm still kind of figuring that out, Miss Putz. I don't know. Like, certainly if you're, want to hang out and chat and want the emotes and the badge, I think all that stuff is super cool. I mean, I come from Twitch, and I'm totally into the sub badges, and I like to have the emotes, emojis, whatever. So if it were me in your spot, I would go through YouTube instead of Patreon. But Patreon also takes a smaller cut. I'm not sure that I'm going to do different things on one versus the other. I kind of like that YouTube just has it all tied together. Even though they're, taking a bigger cut, they're offering a bunch of cool stuff as well. So it's totally up to you if you want to switch. Hazard Gaming, how's it going? Zeus, Undertaker / Mantis, Buzz, Zone, and Challenger are my go-to. You're welcome, Trevor. Hazard, I've not thrown Challenger. I'm not sure. I've got I think this is a magnet here, but I've not messed with really any of the older putters. Well, Roach, I guess. I don't know how old the Roach is, but I have messed with some Roaches before. Would love your thoughts on some Prodigy products in the future. Personally love the A2, D2, and H3 V2. One of my buddies is, I'm pretty sure, used to throw a good chunk of the A2s, kind of switched to MD5s and Tactics and, tried some different things. I have recently got a couple M4s, which I didn't throw a whole lot. I was pretty sad to see the flashing on them. But I think that's something you just have to get used to if you're going to like Prodigy, unless you can get your hands on them in person and really pick the ones without flashing. Challenger is pretty stable with no turn and a tiny bead. I have one of the D series Prodigy discs, Miss Putts, but I haven't thrown it very much. And then I recently got one of the H series, I think. Oh yeah, it is. Did you say H3 V2? I did get an H3 V2. I've thrown this thing just a couple of times so far. But yeah, I'm trying to be open-minded and really give every brand a chance. Flashing is pretty brutal, but otherwise I'll say their plastic feels fantastic. Yeah, I think the plastic feels great. I threw a Mantis quite a long time ago, or at least had one. I can't remember really what I got out of it. But I've thrown the Undertakers a little bit this last go around, trying the Discraft stuff. Where do you guys want to start today? You want to jump right in and watch some form? Talk about some form and watch videos of throwing, or go through all this Discraft stuff I got sitting on the desk next to me. I have 3 D2s, love that driver. Consistently outdistance my destroyers. Must be the extra tick of glide. D2s are the furthest thing I throw. Old guy, what do you think the difference between D2's destroyers and Zeus is that you've thrown? Okay, so it sounds like Hazard the Mantis is a little bit less stable than the Undertakers. I don't know what the numbers are on those. (9.5) -1.2 for Undertaker. 8.4 -2.2 for Mantis. Okay. I definitely see some overlap between those two. Oh, interesting, old guy. I didn't know that that Prodigy was saying the D2 had 6 glide. That sounds like that's accurate. for you and the way you're using them. They fly a little further from that glide. Mantis has quite a bit more dome. Yeah, I've definitely seen some Undertakers that are pretty close to flat. Let's see, I'm trying to decide which screen to put this up on. I guess I'll go right screen actually. I'll make it a little bit easier for me to keep eyes on chat. Although I don't know. Oh yeah, if I go capture the right side, I don't have a cam set up there. Let me see if I can add that really quick. Great looking shot with mountains in the background. Yeah, thanks Mitch. That's I've been using that side of the field to throw just because it has a little better backdrop there. Oh, there we go. I'll just put myself down here. I'm not a huge Zeus fan. The ones I've tried were oddly stiff. Yeah, I think most Zeus are pretty stiff actually. Okay, so what I did, I put a message out on one of our local Facebook club pages asking if anybody would be interested in having a form check done, and that I'd meet with them out in the field, you know, give them some on-the-spot advice depending on what I saw, and in trade they'd let me use the video I took of them during streams, and I got a ton of responses. And I've met up with four people to get video in the last few days. Zak here is the first guy I met up with. Zak Erickson. Don't believe I've ever met him before or even seen him out on the course. He said he's been playing for a year and a half, and he pretty much has a cannon. He can throw a good chunk over 400, but definitely can get to 400 with some regularity, which immediately I thought was going to make it tough for me to give too much good advice, because he's got the distance that I do for the most part. And I was out there with a speed gun, a radar gun that day also, so I get an idea what people's arm speed is. And he was hitting 61 to 63 like pretty regularly, and then was even clocking in 65 and 66 on a number of throws, which is right about I think maybe 64 or 65 is the fastest I've ever recorded my arm. And then later in our session, he cranked one off at 69, which is just crazy fast. You know, getting close to 70 is pretty insane. So he's already got some pretty major, some major arm speed going on. I tried to ask him what he thought the weak spot in his game was and what his strengths were, and he said that for sure he felt more comfortable throwing on hyzer angles, and that anhyzers were a weak point. When after a few throws, he said, or I saw him throw one pretty like low into the dirt, and then he also mentioned that is one of his, that's his miss, or is throwing too low or nose down, one of the two. I guess one of the first things that I noticed in particular when we started talking about throwing anhyzer shots, let's see, this first one might have been an anhyzer. No, it was a huge hyzer. I think that was supposed to be a straight shot. I'm looking for a Sky Annie. Here it is. So what stood out to me is how high his pull through is. A pretty high reach back. We'll click through here one frame at a time. And this wasn't just on anhyzers, but on, I think every one of his throws, I really felt like his reach back was too high. And so we started talking about that after we were done recording, and I think that is the reason that he is having so much trouble on getting angles right on anhyzer. So if you just grab a disc. That's the wrong way. If I'm trying to throw a nice like Sky anhyzer, I want a higher release point, and what that's going to mean, that high release point I want to mirror at my reach back. So where my normal reach back could be fairly flat, if I'm going to pull through straight, if I'm going to release higher and on an anhyzer, then my reach back needs to mirror that. So my reach back is going to be low. And with his reach back being so high, trying to come from here to up a little bit is a really weird, choppy stroke. And you're either going to have to open your hand early to get the disc out, in which case it's going to be pretty nose up and stall out of your anhyzer, or you hold on to it a little bit longer and it's going to round the corner and turn into a cut roller. Dude, that hoodie is sick. Thanks, Miss Putz. Yeah, I just got it. The AGL X Out. That's their X Out stamp, and it's got like the above ground level written on the sleeve. I like it. I've been wearing it like pretty much since I got it. Nothing beats a new comfy hoodie. So let's finish and look at the way that this anhyzer looked. So that's where, like, even though his reach back started a whole lot before that, that's almost where his throw is beginning, which is a really weird spot. Up high, almost on the shoulder. and think about trying to draw a straight line from your shoulder to the release point. And see that one, you can tell from the angle, like he swung it low. Like look at the angle that his arm is even finishing. I think that all of the problems that Zak is having with the consistency, in particular with his anhyzers, is starting on his reach back. And I, tucked the camera away. It was gone by, I'd finished like recording all of the throws I needed, and we talked about that. And he threw like a couple more while thinking about that reach back angle, and they were just, beautiful sky annies panning back towards flat, to land flat instead of totally turning and burning. So that's something to consider. If in particular that's an issue you're having, I think that it's a really good general rule that a lot of problems where like you see a symptom at your release point, the issue is actually where that reach back is starting from. That looks like you could tweak your shoulder if you really cranked on a disc up above your shoulder. Agreed. The first thing I noticed was the high reach back, which would also explain why his miss is throwing it into the ground. He has to throw nose up in order to not throw it into the ground. Yeah, you're right, Hazard. I agree with you. I think partly when that is shown off was this near the end. I asked Zak to do some standstill shots. I didn't ask if he was comfortable with those. I just asked him to do standstill. And after throwing a couple, I think he told me, he was like, I don't throw from standstill. He was like, I would take a couple steps into that. And yeah, so he told me just before this one, and then he took, a couple steps back just so he could get into it. So I think that there's probably some clues right in there as well. This was another anhyzer. It's really hard to change your timing, right? So he doesn't look very comfortable from the standstill, and I think that's because he's having issues getting that disc up high where he would normally have it. So he's starting the throw by like shifting his weight forward. You can see his hips moving forward. And he's still trying to get that reach back super high. I think that this is really interesting here. Like, just in general, when like critiquing form, a local player, Rusty, put a really good post on one of the local Facebook club groups recently. I didn't engage in it or read through all the comments, but I did read what he wrote when he started the post. And he was talking about how there's an issue with form critique, and it is that people will tell you what you're doing wrong, or compare it against someone else and say this is what you should be doing, but they'll leave out the how. And I think that's I think he was spot on. I think Rusty was spot on when he brought that up. And that goes, I think about that a lot. Like when I'm talking about how bodies move and, trying to get a little bit of a change done in movement, I think about climbing a lot and giving someone advice on what hold to use to maybe help them do a move. You know, I've got about a 6-foot wingspan, so in some cases I can just like reach a span that someone else can't. And so you have to like try to think of what their strengths are, you know, whether there's a little foot over here that they can use to do a back step or use this intermediate hold. You know, it's not as simple as just saying, well, just go to that hold. Well, they might not be able to reach it from the current position they're in. Like they need a different set of beta. And if that can be applied to giving people form advice, I think is really huge. Like it's not hard just to like look at this specific still image from Zak's throw and just say, well, you're just pulling across your body too high. Your reach back is too high. Don't do that. Like that's not particularly useful. I mean, but like potentially Zak can just work on that and like try to feel what it's like to bring the disc down low. But there's way more going on here, and that's what I'm trying to like challenge myself to figure out. And hopefully we can go on a little journey together, looking through some of these different videos and all get better at that. If I think of like starting a disc that high and pulling across and try to envision like what muscles I would be using to do that, I think it is it's tricep and then what's this, a lat down here. I'm pretty sure that is what Zak is using to really pull into his throw. And that's probably why he errs so high, is he's engaging that tricep and his lat. Granted, this one he was trying to stand up to throw an Annie, so it's even exaggerated there. He'd probably look a lot more comfortable in this one. He's planting like very open. To me, it looks as if he should focus on chest to the sky for Anheuser angle rather than dipping his back shoulder to the ground. Leaning back vertically rather than laterally. I get you, Miss Putz. I understand where you're coming from. I think that a big piece of the puzzle to changing how high that reach back is for him to not lock his arm out so early. You can see he's in the X step right now and already has that thing reach back. Reach back looks quite early in that throw. Yeah, you're right, Hazard. So I think that what's happening here is right when he's going to start to weight shift onto the front foot is when he starts engaging the arm and using that focusing on the lat and the tricep, that is the, so if we think of like a little zone in front of his chest, and that's the power pocket that he wants to pull through, he's going to get down and place those muscle groups into that area and then try to pull through that area. That's what it looks like to me. And so that's partly why the disc needs to come up, is because he's dipping those parts into that little pocket and then pulling the disc through it. And there's no denying that he's getting a crazy amount of speed on the disc there. I've got, you can see, so that angle that we were just looking at was from my Canon. And then I also had my GoPro out there, and this GoPro is just causing me like endless problems. So I'm over it. I'm probably not gonna film with the GoPro anymore. Unfortunately, I already used it for the first 3, so that's what we're gonna be dealing with. This is the GoPro angle here. So one of the things that I have used and I think has helped me quite a bit in working on my reach back is, when you've got your T-pad figured out, there's like the last step is going to be here, whatever. I try to visualize a point here. You kind of feel it out, after doing your X step so many times, you have an idea where your reach back is going to be. And to keep the disc a little bit closer to your body until it gets to that point over the T-pad. And you'll see this in a lot of footage where from this angle coming through, once the disc hits what will end up being its maximum reach back point, it stops moving in relation to the background. Of course, Zak is very early here in his reach back, which does aid in getting your hips pointed, away from the target, so your hips are twisted back really far and ready to engage. But for like what I count as the furthest back point of the reach back would be where the disc is at when you start to get your hips engaged. And so it's going to be after the plant. So not even quite planted yet, and hips are ready to go, or there they go. They start turning. So this would be the furthest point back on his reach back. So if Zak can focus on visualizing that, finding the point on the T-pad, and then looking at it, or at least looking backwards, I think that's another thing that can be improved, is that Zak is tending to pin his chin to his shoulder, trying to look forward. I'm guessing that, if Zak's visualizing where his disc is at, if not for watching video, I bet he thinks it's lower. He feels like that's down here. The things that I would recommend to work on that is, for one, picking that spot on the T-pad and trying to get the disc to hover, to look backwards. It doesn't have to look at the ground, just get those eyes looking backwards, so he like actually has a visual reference of where that disc is at, and focus on seeing it in its reach back point, holding it in closer to his body throughout the X step, and then looking down at it, getting a reference point to it in the background, and having it stall in that one point as he's getting ready to engage. I think those things are going to help him get the disc down here. And then I would really encourage him to feel if this in the lat and tricep is what he feels like he's hitting the hardest with. And I don't know what he should feel like he's hitting the hardest with, but it like, it's easier for me to just speak from experience and what my throw feels like, and I am not focusing on anything here or in here. I feel like I'm really trying to still stay very loose as I'm in the reach back, and then once the hips go and everything starts moving, I'm thinking about my forearm, the inside of my forearm or the outside of my forearm. That's what I want to lead through the power pocket. So like my assumption that Zak is, whether he's thinking about it, you know, whether it's subconscious or what, I feel like this is what he's using, one of either the lat or the tricep, and that's what he's pulling through the power pocket. I think he is moving the disc up for extra oomph, since his reach back has nowhere further to go because it's early. That's interesting, Miss Putz. I'll have to think about that. I get like wanting an extra bit of movement to like start the engagement, a little extra swing or something. I try to think of it as the peak of reach back should only be held for a very short amount of time, and then move it into the power pocket when the hips start activating. It's like his reach back is actually lifting the disc up because his arm is already back. Yeah. I mean, it's, you gotta have a goal, right? Like if it's, saying, oh, well, everybody or a high majority of people pull through lower and have a lower reach back. So is that something that Zak should strive for just because everybody else is doing it? Or is there a logical reason? And I think that like Zak doesn't need a whole bunch of extra distance. He's already throwing very far. But I think that for the sake of consistency, he should reduce the amount of movement that's going on with the disc in his reach back. The reach back is so early that he's getting movement that's pulling the disc forward. And then for potentially a variety of reasons, it's lifting the disc. So we already have like a crazy amount of travel, both forwards and lifting. And then this movement is really crazy because he starts moving really fast right here. And to pull the disc in that far and then start pulling it down, like not only is the disc moving up and down a little bit, but he's, the angles on that disc are changing, and to be changing the angles on a disc in that short period of time is makes getting a consistent release very difficult. Well, the goal is accuracy, not power with this specific prescription. Yeah, Miss Putz. Aldriel, feel like he's moving the disc up to get more power on the pull. Aldriel, yeah, I think you're right. I bet it, it's hard to say what Zak feels. I've tried to get that out of different people, different times. Like, what do between an upshot that's going, pretty smooth pull for you, whether that's 150 feet or 200 feet, between that and your max distance, like crush of a throw, what do you feel like is happening differently? Like what body parts do you feel like you're engaging more? And some people can explain that really well and be like, oh, well, I think I'm getting, my speed from here or my power from this. And then other people just they haven't thought of that before, or have issues like putting it into words. So that can be difficult to talk about stuff in that way. Sorry, this is super choppy when I play it at normal speed, and that's part of the issues I'm having with the GoPro. Let's click through one more here. So I did not notice this on the spot, but it really looks like he's also planting open. That toe is pointing forward. I think that's why it's so hard to teach too. I've had breakthroughs in the field where I went, oh, that's probably what they meant. Yeah. I think you're spot on there, Miss Putz. It is difficult to. I feel like that's the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher. Is a bad teacher maybe doesn't understand when the person they're working with is understanding or not what they're talking about, and even if they can realize that the person they're working with is failing to understand what they're trying to communicate, they still lack the ability to use different terms and try to explain it in a different way. I think that's what really sets, normal teachers and great teachers apart. Has he seen these videos, Doth? No. Nope. This is I actually did post these as soon as I had chopped them up. I uploaded them to YouTube and put it in my little community tab. There's only a few people that can see it. Anybody who's signed up for member or whatever to get my emotes and such, they can see them in there. But this stream will be the first time. I don't know. Zak might be in the chat even for all I know, but and I'll leave them up as a VOD, so you can come back and watch them at any point in time. Yeah, he's very, very open here on that plant foot. First time I videoed my throw, I was reaching back way too soon like Zak is. I did not, however, have the very high reach back. Yeah, one of my other buddies has a really high swing like this also. Just pretty crazy how much power he's getting out of it for where that reach back is at. I went and bookmarked some of the form videos that I always go back to. Simon's, for example, is one that I go to quite a bit. But it's actually like a little bit tricky for copyright for me to show other people's stuff. But I do have some video I took a while ago of myself, which is clearly is not as good as watching one of the pros, but I can show a couple of the things that I'm talking about. I think the open front foot comes from taking a big X step, which causes him to lean backwards, not keeping the weight centered. The result in the last step being bigger than it this results in the last step being bigger than it needs to be. Too big of an X step. I think that you can take a huge X step and still get your toe on the ground first and have those hips a little bit further backward. I feel like in particular Eagle is pretty good at taking a giant step and still getting that toe pointed backwards. You were the Simon Lizotte of Utah? That is not true. There's some dudes here that absolutely crush. That's probably what I should do, is get some video from them, not to, with intent of giving feedback, but maybe using them as comparison. If I just take the video myself, then I don't have to worry about any copyright problems or whatnot. It might be useful to break down how he achieves the power he does have. Yeah, I think it's from how tight he pulls the disc in. Like, he's getting huge advantages on how closed his hinges are. Elbow and wrist. And shoulder. Yeah, that's true, but he also leans forward and does not let his feet move in front of his body as a whole. So let's take a look at... I was doing some work with putters. So I look how opposite my problem is. For one thing, is how low I reach back compared to Zak, and I'm still early. And this is partly like, because I do it, it makes it easier for me to recommend, because it does work for me. But I'm keeping the disc close to my core, and once I get to that point that I think it's going to be to my maximum reach back point, which I'm trying to target this mini marker, that is when the disc gets to stick in place, and it should hover. I'm actually dropping it, but it's not moving further forward until there. And that's still too early. Like, I have misjudged. But it pulls up in line with my forearm, because that's what I'm focusing on so much. It's like, it would be, I think, even more ideal if that's right here, like where I get that disc to stall. And then it's pulling through on that line that I'm trying to engage by focusing on my forearm. So there's clearly many things still wrong with my form. I'm not like trying to say this is what to copy. But it's in particular interesting because it's so much different than what Zak is doing. Also, the chin off of the shoulder, I think, would be to great advantage for Zak. That's something that kind of got much better known, at least, when Drew Gibson did a little clip on that, I think, keeping a gap there. keeping your chin off of your shoulder. Your back arm is super nice and tucked. Thanks. I have issues leaning forward too much, not keeping my upper body upright. It maybe doesn't show off as much in that clip because I was just trying to throw putters at a higher power ratio, but as soon as I grab a driver and am like, oh, I'm really going to crush this driver, even more flaws show up in my form. Is the tucked arm something that I focus on, Miss Putz? Is that what you're asking? Your left arm tends to flail a bit when I throw. The left arm is something that I've worked on quite a bit, and I knew that it's to my advantage to keep the left arm tucked, but I still failed to be able to get it there because my center of gravity was too far off. I tend to be really far forward when I'm pulling through, and with that much extra upper body weight in front of the line that I'm pivoting on, it means I need a counterweight out back, so my back arm tends to get ripped away from my body when I'm spinning. So if I could fix my form and get it more upright, which I think in part is because I'm reaching back too far and too early, which is pulling my whole body backwards when I start the throw, and that much weight behind my pivot point ends up being in front of the pivot point after I round the corner. So I don't know that there's a whole lot really for Zach to work on there. Like, I'm being pretty nitpicky, and the dude clearly crushes. And if he can add some consistency, then he could really be a shredder out on the course. I don't know what his game's like already, but he'd certainly be a force to contend to if he's with that arm speed. That's 500 feet worth of arm speed that he's got. I would definitely think that focusing on that reach back and pull through is the spot to start. And then there's some other things too, but that's what stands out to me the most. I think there's definitely some footwork stuff in there also, like Hazard's talking about. You guys want to see another one? I've got a couple. Actually, let's I have to ask for help on this next one. Let's see. One of my friends offered to come out. Joe Illingworth. I've played with Joe a few times and bumped out into him in the course a bunch. He's already come out and helped me do some other filming stuff, which I had technical difficulties that didn't end up working, but he's been helping me try to get more content, and we have some more stuff planned in the future. I've found when changing up disc golf form, you need to try the other extreme. Like you said, he probably thinks his reach back is pretty low. May I send you my buddy's form? Tony, I don't know how to pronounce your name properly. Tony, you're welcome to send me your buddy's form. I'm not sure that I will get to it or go through it. Part of the way that I want to work with people and like to improve my ability to kind of like diagnose really relies on me being able to talk to them and ask them, what do they feel their strength is? What do they feel their weakness is? What are their misses? some of the stuff I talked about earlier. Where does their power or speed come from? How do they visualize, their own movement? Those sorts of things I think are really important. It's always interesting to just look at people's videos and offer critique as far as like what's good, what's bad, but to kind of build a plan to try to help someone improve. I think that's more difficult to do from video alone, but you're welcome to send it over if I think I can get something done and that'd be good content, then I would totally show it off. Ezra made a video a few days ago about the left arm that I found extremely helpful. Clown sauce. Nice. I'll have to check that out. I am subscribed to Ezra's channel, so I'm sure it's popped up. I'm subscribed to a lot of stuff on YouTube though, so it doesn't always pop to the top. Tony, if you want to connect, you can find by the name Doth Savick. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. There's a few different ways you can contact me like that. If you want to send a message out, we can figure out email or something to send that video over if you'd like. So we got some forehand in this next one. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to do a battery swap, and then we'll dig into it. I'll be right back. All right, we're back in here. What's up, gym class? How's it going? So my buddy Joe said he wanted to come out. I didn't know what to tell him. He's got a wicked backhand. He's got some super smooth backhand form. But he said he's been working on his forehand a little bit more, so we ended up taking some video of his forehand, which is still tough for me to provide critique on, because his YouTube, I'm saying what I'm reading. Where's that's not what I wanted. Do some slow-mo. So it turns out Joe's forehand is pretty wicked also. Don't put too much into seeing him roll these to Annie. We had crazy wind out here that day. So I need you forehand experts to speak up and tell me what you see in Joe's forehand form here. I was clocking speed on his throws as well. I don't remember if I did when he was doing standstill, but he was hitting low 60s in his forehand, which is crazy. Going good. Just received my new backpack after watching a review of yours. Oh, nice, gym class. Jim, which backpack did you go with? Hi, Otto. Can you watch my form? Yeah. I can do that, Otto. You just gotta come to Utah. Prodigy BP1V3. Oh, very nice. I think those are hard to find. I have not been seeing those in stock, at least the last I looked. You got a lot of bang for your buck with that bag. It's a monster. Just restocked them this week. Oh, nice. You were on top of it. Oh, and slightly changed it. Really? What'd they do different? Hazard, you're looking at the BP1V3 as well. Nice. Oh, they changed up the colors. Interesting. I wonder if the fabric is the same. I live in Finland. That's an expensive trip, Otto. Yeah, Otto, if you want to send me footage, no guarantees that I'll get it out in one of these streams, but I will look at it and see if see what I can do. I don't know that YouTube is. Joe showed us his backhand there too. YouTube's not great for allowing like a direct message. I don't think they even have a way to do it, which is kind of weird, right? So, Otto, I think the best would be if you can do Facebook or like Instagram or something. You can just look the name Doth Savick and find me on one of those and send me a message. We can figure something out to get that video over. They now have the fluffy Velcro strip underneath the upper putter pouch. That's a clean backhand. Yeah, Joe's backhand is pretty ridiculous. I am not following you there, gym class, on what Velcro you're talking about. So they switch the sides, like the scratchy one versus the fluffy one. They swap where they were at. Aldriel, you bought a BP1V3 last week too? Nice. Everybody in the chat's going with the Prodigy bag. It's certainly a good value. There's no denying that. To attach patches and stuff. Oh, got you. Now I'm on the same page, gym class. That's cool. I like that. That's fun to be able to... No, that did not exist before. They didn't have any outward facing Velcro on there. I think on that forehand his elbow should be closer to his body. Do you mean like never leave, like it is here, and just stay tighter the entire time? I wonder if I have... I don't think I've even looked at the GoPro from this. As for the forehand, I think it's very hard to tell on video. One of the things I've heard is to really stomp the front foot into the ground. I think he's doing a decent stomp on these. Maybe not. He's kind of rocking on the heel. I would have moved the camera over if I knew he was going to step over here. He missed the tee box he had lined up on the back for the backhand. Look at how early his hips go. So he's toe first, very closed on the hips, super rearward facing on that. Right there, his hips go. You see these? You see his knee turn, and he's so early in that. I mean, not early in not in a bad way. But he's getting those hips around so fast. Like if you were looking at chest up, you wouldn't even know that his throw was started yet. He's got the knee dropped. His hips are leading so well. And that, yeah, his back arm is just tucked so. It would be interesting to get more footage of Joe's backhand. He is crushing right now. Gym class, yeah, Salt Lake City. Let me see if I have a GoPro of Joe. It looks pretty good, although I'm not very good at forehand. Yeah, Hazard, I feel the same. I think he's outclassing me forehand and backhand, so I definitely have studied backhand a whole lot more, so I feel like even if someone throws backhand better than me, I may be able to offer some advice, but I do not feel the same about forehand. You're German, but you went to the U? Oh, very nice. Yeah, I've got some GoPro up here. Let me get to a good throw. Okay. Oh, that is not what I wanted to do. So we'll click through this one frame by frame. One of the things that Joe does I find really interesting and looked super weird to me is how he holds the disc when he's getting ready to throw a forehand. Like he is right now. It does make a whole lot of sense. He's preloading his wrist. You guys are just having to... You don't see the frames changing? They are, sorry. He was just standing still. I waited, I didn't do it quite soon enough. Look, one of Eagle forehand videos, his elbow is close to his body. Joe's elbow is too far from his body. Thanks, Otto. That's good feedback. You guys just listening to me smash my mouse button as we go frame by frame. This is like where I should have started it right here. He's keeping that wrist cocked back so far. It feels uncomfortable for me to do that. I rely on it happening like in the middle of the throw. He's doing the full like crow hop. Sexton style, right? Isn't that what Nate Sexton does? I had this on recording at 240 frames per second. That's why there's so many frames. Me smashing the like button. Nice, Tony. That frame, you can see that. Hey, Robert. Cool, I get to catch a live stream. What'd I miss? We already went through Zak's form. That's what we started with today. He is throwing right hand, backhand. Disc Golf Fanatic, how's it going? That frame always looks painful. Yeah, with the elbow leading, for sure. It's a nice badge you've got next to your name there, Robert. A little yellow Lola head. The first one in chat today with the member badge. Thank you. Oh, you're Tony. You just switched account. Oh, right on. One thing I think Joe's doing really well here, and I don't think I do at all, is get my inside knee that close to the ground. Really get the right side of the body like drop down. And he's leading with the elbow. Like he's getting, you know, I don't know if I said speed earlier. He's hitting 60, 61 mile an hour with his forehand, which is pretty sweet. I think that plant with the toe forward is also very good. How far? It doesn't, like, speed doesn't exactly correlate to how far it will fly. Spin and put on the disc and nose angle all comes into play a lot. I didn't do distances on this stuff on that day. It was crazy windy. He still probably threw I mean, 110 to 120 meters with the forehand. Which is pretty wild. He's crushing it. I'm sure that he'll appreciate the comment about the elbow not being tucked enough, Otto. Thanks for that. I have one more that I already went through and edited and trimmed that I'm more excited about. Another local player who I think he's hitting arm speed around 50 miles an hour. I'm really psyched to go through that one. I think that he's got an extra 5 miles an hour or so in the tank that can be tapped into pretty easily. Maybe that's not the right thing to say, not pretty easily, but it's definitely like there for the taking. And then I also did recorded video for another friend who was throwing about the same arm speed, high 40s, low 50. Just got back. I would also be curious as to how exactly arm speed correlates to distance. I think somebody did a... Isn't there a... Somebody did a There was a calculation floating around, something relating to distance. I think I have it written down in my notes. I'll go look. I did not tuck my elbow either. At least I guess so. Maybe it's the style of the throw. Like, is there a rule of thumb for every 5 mile an hour, so many feet or meters? Yeah, I think there might be missed putts. Let me pull up some notes and see if I have that. Yeah, I do have a note in here about that. I'm going to paste it in chat. Distance equals speed times 6.9 minus 44. I've not messed with that a whole lot, and I don't remember what the source for that was. If I'm throwing 50 miles an hour, I guess I won't be breaking 600 feet anytime soon. Not without a roller and some help from the wind. So if we do, using that formula, 50 miles an hour times 6.9, that equals 345 minus 44. That's 301 feet, or 100 meters. That's not true. 50 miles an hour. So 64 miles an hour equals about 400 feet. According to the formula, not very accurate formula. Yeah. I thought it was about right before taking the 44 off of there. Yeah, I mean, there are so many other things that come into play. The amount of spin imparted on the disc and nose angle are crazy important. Or even the type of disc you're throwing, right? That changes the formula a lot too. Like potentially somebody with a low enough arm speed is going to get more distance out of an understable mid than they will a 14-speed driver, right? When thrown properly. Or are we talking hyzers, straight line shot, flex shots? At Miss Putts, really missing your content from gym class. I have some vids on the back burner. Life has just been crazy lately. Oh yeah, if you reverse the formula, then it really shows that it's broken. That's interesting, Tony. 626 feet equals 95 mile an hour. Otto, you've hit 78. Backhand. That's insane. There are probably diminishing returns to arm speed. So maybe less accurate the higher the arm speed gets. Yeah, that could be missed putts. It's hard to say without knowing what the context was when that formula that I copied, where it came from. So I Googled that, and it's pulled up a Reddit post and something from Disc Golf Course Review. Where people were talking about it. Oh, that's a snooze fest. I don't want to read through that. How's it going, Doth? Hey Carson. I'm doing well. How are you? Otto, my distance record is 196 meters. Holy cow, Otto. You're a crusher. Okay, so it looks like the source of that formula for speed versus distance did come from a DGCR, Disc Golf Course Review forum. And they analyzed, I'll have to go back. I might have had that right thread open. They analyzed a whole bunch of data from people throwing about what their arm speed was and how far the discs went. So that was the source of the... So it was reverse... The formula was reverse engineered from gathering data. Theo Pazzi did a speed versus distance study 10 years ago. And this post is from 2010, so it would be 20 years ago now. His results were published probably in DGWN. I don't know what that is. He sent me the full spreadsheet of his study. Here's the highlights. Reposted without his permission, so hopefully he won't sue me. All credit to him. This is... Here, I'll post the thread I'm reading. If you want to dig in and figure out where the raw data from that spreadsheet and how they came up with that formula. I don't know. Interesting. Carson, I'm all right. Just ordered a new VIP hatchet. Oh, very nice. So I think what would make it a challenge is wind, glide, disc weight. Throwing a baseball, for example, would probably be a lot easier to find a correlation between arm speed and distance. Yeah, it looks like they were averaging a bunch of throws, missed putts. Seems to be too many variables just to have two X's in the formula. Gotta go. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, gym class. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Yeah, I don't know. This is too much for me to read through right now. I don't know if they had, what their, what's it called? If that was a tournament or what kind of event they used to source all of that data. And if it was just a single day and, how many people they used, all that kind of thing would really affect how accurate the data is. But I've not seen anybody else talk about a formula, so that's the only answer I have, is to point you towards the research somebody else has done. Yeah, for sure. It's definitely interesting, Miss Putz. Angles as well, yeah, for sure, Tony. You guys want to go through some Discraft? See what we got here. It looks like a small amount of data with a lot of outliers. So we'll do we'll go through some putters here first. That's not the right way. Seems like the main study I found correlating arm speed to distance was from quite a few years ago and was tested using 7-speed eagles. Are those cosmic pilots? No. They are fierces. It's a good second guess. Freeman. Yeah, this is the putting putter stack first. You can take a quick break again and I'll dig right into them. I'm going to wiggle that camera some and change its angle. This technology has improved a lot in the last 20 years as well. Yeah, you're not wrong there, Hazard. Let's see. I will turn off that. So the first putter I have on top of here, I got from I think this was a CTP prize. It's a magnet. I've not thrown this. It's 2002 Memorial. It is used, but no ink on there. I just thought it was kind of neat with that stamp and how old it is, so I've held on to it. I think I've had it for a year or two, maybe. Some random CTP prize. How can you possibly afford all this? Tony, yeah, it's just over time. Luckily, I've had some folks work with me here recently, different manufacturers and online stores, stuff like that. Have been sending me stuff, so that makes it a whole lot less painful. Someone on a Reddit thread is saying every 1 mile an hour correlates to about 6 or 7 feet. Huh. How's that work out? So 61 mile an hour for 400. What's 50? $50 times 6 is 300. 50 times 7 is 350. Yeah. I mean, that's such a huge. It's easy for it to work if it's within, yeah, if it's that big of a gap. So pretty much the same as the last formula, except for the minus 44. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of wonky. So I've got that magnet, and then I went pretty hard on Fierces. I ended up grabbing 10 after trying a few. I was going full practice putter mode. Wanted to play perfect putt 360. Right around when these came out. I'm thinking that was February, March, something like that. I went and ended up snagging a whole bunch of Fierces, and then promptly injured myself. So I couldn't continue with like a high level of putting practice. But nonetheless, I got just a chunk of Fierces here. I have beat them up pretty good. You can see. You know, these aren't for show. I have gone through and used all of them. I love the Fierce. Aldriel, yeah, I do as well. I think it's great. I really like how understable it is. The very low profile is weird for me. I can't say I've ever putted with something else that has such a low profile as the Fierce. Oh my goodness, there's a snowstorm outside. There's like inches of snow out there. I knew a storm was coming today, but I was just distracted talking to you guys. And it's like full blizzard. This is what's going on outside of my window right now. Winter is here. Well, just noticed. Yeah, Zach, I've been distracted. Where did you get your disc rack? Brepo. This I traded a bag for. This one, the metal one, I traded a bag for. It's a Heiser rack. What's it called? I forget its name. I think you can find it. It's from DD, I believe. They're pricey. It's like $250 US. And then I put some lights in it. It's got LED lights around the back. That's why it keeps changing colors. And then the other one that you see next to it, Zach in the chat made for me. Again, actually, I traded a bag for a good chunk of it. But that wood one's fully custom. Zach made it. It's awesome. Zach does some really good custom work like that. Aldriel, I have 2 Jawbreaker Fierces waiting on the Crystal Z version to arrive in Finland. Very nice. I like the crystal. I've got a number of those Crystal Fierces here I'll show off. Have you tried the JYLY or Easy 3 putting games on? No. No, Tony, I've not. I've also not thrown a pure Miss Putts. So the other putting putters that I have in here are some Lunas. I actually thought I had 4 Lunas, but apparently I only have 3, or I lost one, or it's misplaced or something. I'm not sure. But I got the Jomez Pro. Do it for the slow mez. You can see I've been throwing them. It's pretty chunked. Another slow mez one. This one I've not thrown very much. You can see it is in pretty good condition. And then I got my double stamped with the P McB stamp on there. And this one's also pretty chunked up. I've been throwing it a lot. So I got a big stack of Fierces, and then a few Lunas here. Between those two, like I don't need another putting putter. That covers the stability spectrum for me and what I want in long putts and windy putts. Of course, I'm just talking Discraft right now. I love putters of many different brands, so they're basically the same putting game, just like that Perfect Putt 360. I'd recommend you try it out. I've been going to putting practice for 3 years now, and we use those regularly. I'm going to forget what they are, JYLY or EZ3. I'm going to copy those. Tony, thanks. I appreciate the tip. I'll look into both. There, I won't forget now. I put them in my notes. Can you link it? It's not going to allow links in the chat. I don't see a way to allow a user to post links either when I click on that, so he's probably going to get timed out if he posts a link. Google it. Yeah, that is the way. I've been using a Luna for the summer and really like it. Nice, Robert. Yeah, Luna's great. Can't link it. Yeah, sorry. There's probably some way for me to make that work, but I don't know what it is. I think maybe Robert can post links, actually, since he's a member. And he has that badge. I'm not sure about that. Robert, you might also get timed out, too, if you try it. I did read somewhere about that, though. I think there's different permissions for people that are members. What? Yeah. These are also all putters. but getting into, you know, throwing putters instead of putting putters. Here, I'll Google it. I can link it too. It will for sure let me put a link in chat. Lola's knocking over discs in my rack. Easy 3 putting. No. Put the words disc golf in there. Nope. Let me see what Jeeves has to say. Miss Putt is just going through every search engine possible. easy3-putting.web. I don't even know that format, Tony, for a website. Yeah, that is not pulling up at all. JYLY first. Yeah, I do see .altervista.org, jyla.altervista.org. Perfect Putt 360 sucks. You made a video about it. It is a shame that they're... It looks like that's a real link for... It's... I got buttons for new round, mode, stats. It's not a secured website. Yeah, it's a shame that the Perfect Putt 360 doesn't have their stats figured out. They gather a bunch of really cool data, and then you don't get to access it. If they got their stats figured out really well, it would be... Perfect Putt 360 could be a really awesome tool. Basically the same game, just 2 different providers. I guess I have to use 5 putters, start at 10 meters. If you make 5, you stay at the same distance. If 0 made, you go to 5 meters. Okay, the top of my stack are some more Fierces. I've got let's see, this yellow one is the main one that I've been throwing. You can see it's pretty it's the light's too bright to show just how scuffed up that is, but I've been beating the snot out of this yellow one. And then I have a variety of backups. I snagged an orange one, and then I've got a clear one and a black one. Once I first threw these and felt how well they flew, I went ahead and ordered a few backups, which turned out to be good because discs are super hard to find right now, especially some of these. Oh, Robert, you tried to pay... No, it timed you. That's super weird. Why doesn't it show me when someone's getting timed out in chat? Yo, late to the party, but here now. I'll be back and forward with a Falcons game and you. Oh, right on, Alex. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we just started going through some Discraft. To complement the Crystal Fierce that I've been throwing a fair bit, I went ahead and got a few of the Tour Series Lunas as well. That clear milky one I haven't thrown a whole lot. This one I don't think I've thrown the purple at all, but the yellow one here has got a decent amount of work put into it. What took these out of my bag for the most part was the Plastic Addict's Habit, but there's no denying that these are all really good throwers. I've been throwing my Jawbreaker Fierces since I can't find any crystals. Yeah, I hear you. And then I've got a couple roaches. This Tour Series roach flies just as good as the Lunas. Like you buy whatever one you want the stamp of, I guess, when it comes to the roach. And then I've been messing around with this TI a little bit. I lost this one and it came back to me. I'm pretty sure I threw this in a river and Zach fished it out. My fiercest Jawbreaker, no crystals. I did find a Luna Z Tour though. Very nice. Yeah, Alex, this TI is a little bit slippery for me, but I think that would go away. It just needs maybe a few rounds. And then if we're going up in speed, the next stack here is zones. Really one of the first zones that I got was this orange Get Freaky. I beat this up pretty good, and then really like trying to make zones work, I went ahead and did pick up some others. Here's an Earhart Z Tour Series Swirly Z, one of the first run Macbeth, whatever ridiculousness. I got that one from a member of the Disc Golf Podcast Slack group. Sent that one over to me. The TI Plastic lasts forever. Yeah, I've heard it's just crazy durable on the TI. Old guy just got a Brody Zone in Crystal Flex. Really feels good. Haven't thrown it yet. Crystal Flex is really nice. It's a really comfortable plastic. I like it. Are they overstable like the usual Crystal Zs? I can't answer that one. I don't know. And I really felt like, for the most part, honestly, the zones were too overstable for me. For what I like in a throwing and approach utility disc. Straight utility, how overstable they are is fine, but it didn't cover like quite as wide a range as I wanted. And I'd heard that these, come on camera, that's too bright for you. These Jawbreakers fly a whole lot straighter, so I was like, that's probably what I need. Let me try a Jawbreaker. And I really only got a couple throws with Jawbreakers, and then my buddy Brandon finally, after talking about it for quite a while, convinced me to try the Tactic, and all of these zones got retired. The Tactic just hit the spot. That's really exactly what I wanted in that slot. Old guy, my other zone is a 4X first run Macbeth and regular Z. So even when I throw the Brody, I don't know. Tony, yes, I have tried harps. The BT hard and in I'm gonna say tournament, but that's, what do they call it? Whatever, you know what I mean, the tournament plastic. And I thought they were great throwers. They are not as comfortable for my forehand grip as a Tactic is. Oh, Lola's ball got stuck in the Discraft, so she's like pawing at it. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't figure out why she was messing with my discs back there. You're a good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Ooh, okay, easy. You should sell that 4X zone to me. I don't know, Antonio. They go for crazy amounts of money. I'm not sure what to do with that thing. The person that sold it to me gave me a really good deal, so. I have an old school Z-Flex Buzz that's uninked in great condition. Worth anything? I'm not the right person to ask about that, Miss Putz. I would look on the Discraft collector Facebook pages. There's a couple of them, I think. Do some searches on there for similar disc. Tactic is my favorite disc. Right on, Otto. Yeah, I think that the Tactic is just so good. The plastic is great. It flies great. The profile is just about perfect. It'd be hard for me to build a better disc myself for that spot. Mitch Toaster, how's it going? I have a Get Freaky Crystal Flex, fairly overstable. Nice. I also bought a couple of the Halloween Glow Z buzzes today. Nice, Aldriel. Scott Strite, how's it going? Which Discraft plastic is most similar to Innova Star plastic? That would be ESP. Yeah, Antonio's got you. And Miss Putz. Antonio says that disc from Miss Putz worth 30 to 45. Yes, the Jawbreakers are less overstable, Alex. I'd recommend you try medium plastic on the harps. I just lost my medium one and had to replace it with a hard plastic, and it was very bad. Felt weird. Yeah, I could see that being the case. So we pull a mid-range stack here. This year's Ledgestone TI Swirly Zone was pretty overstable. I didn't know they put out TIs this year, Antonio. I must have missed that. I've not been keeping super close track. On top here, I've got a couple drones. A Presno Swirly Z Tour Series. I love how overstable these are. I'm throwing the buzzes. A lot of times I was getting, I don't know, too much glide out of them. I'd put the buzz out on what I thought was a hyzer line, but instead of like getting it to stall and crash, it would just push. It would just push so far. And so I went to trying the drones to just like get something to the ground earlier, a little bit more like an MD4, and these totally did it. I don't love the way that these feel forehand, and I wanted a disc in that little bit more overstable slot to fill that role, and kind of the Tactic ended up taking this spot as well. So like not only did the Tactic replace my zones, but they kind of replaced the drone as well. Quick question, how many discs do you own? Tony, I'm not sure. I haven't done a count recently. It might be pushing close to 300, which is too many. I needed to do another big purge and sell a bunch. I'm going to show my wife this video. Maybe she'll stop giving me crap for all the plastic I buy. Good luck with that, OG. Love my TI drone. They brought back the Crush and TI during the Ledgestone 2. I didn't catch that. Maybe it was in the last couple of releases. I really haven't been paying attention in the more recent emails that I've got. Yesterday I scored 2 2015 Ledgestone ESP Wasps. Ooh, very nice, Antonio. How does TI compare to ESP? They seem pretty similar to me. Scott, the TI is more durable. Some of these other guys in chat probably have better experience than I do, but this is my understanding at least. The TI is more durable. It'll chunk a little less, hold its stability a little bit longer, and maybe does tend to be a little bit more slick in your hand. The glide is a sick, understable mid. I haven't tried a glide. So two drones in there. And then this is a Tim Barham bottom stamp. It's a Tour Series ESP Buzz SS. I got this used. It's got ink on it. Make sure I cover up the guy's phone number. I'm not showing people's information off. I have not thrown this yet, but I was interested to try a Buzz SS, and so I bought this used and just still have not got around to actually trying it. TI, way more durable, more stable. TI plastic makes disc more overstable, and ESP tends to make disc more understable. Robert, I had a great throw right into concrete bridge with my TI Sting, and it didn't hardly have a scratch. It's a little less grippy though. I bet the bridge is scared. Mentioning 2019 TI disc yesterday, I also scored a pair of 2019 Tour Series Forces. Oh, very nice. And Pro Tour Crystal Luna. That's a good score, Antonio. I've got a couple buzzes here with a very custom stamp on there. It is a less white stamp, Richter version. It's a local player. It's had some very unfortunate medical stuff needed, and a crazy amount of bills. And so this is a custom set they did as a fundraiser. And so of course I had to scoop up a couple of these raptor heads. They're both on ESP. Those are ESP buzzes. Yeah, TI is so strong it's crazy. I've had a TI buzz since they released. That thing still flies like the day I bought it. That raptor head stamp is sick. Yeah, it's a good one. Totally gonna mess up my order on these. So here's a really old disc for me. I spent a bit of time living in California, and one of the first sanctioned events I ever did was King of the Lake in 2008. If you're not familiar with the King of the Lake tournament is, it's a pretty sick one that plays around Lake Tahoe. That's the lake they're referring to. It plays a bunch of courses. It's a pretty grueling tournament, especially if you're not used to playing up at elevation and hiking a lot. Anyways, this is a crystal buzz. I did have a couple of these. I had a red one that matched this, but I lost it. Unfortunately, never came back to me. Somebody scooped that thing up, and I don't know. This is a special one. I haven't thrown it in a long time, but it's got sentimental value to me. Mitch, the next Discraft disc I'm looking for is the Yuli Tour Series Raptor, but Discraft discs are hard to come by in Canada. Oh, you're from Canada, I see. Yeah, I like Uli, and I've tried a couple Raptors. I like them too. Putting those two together definitely makes for a sick disc. The weird thing is the Nate Doss TI buzzes came out understable. That is weird. I've not heard that from anyone before, Antonio. The Raptor feels really good in the hand. Yeah, I think the Raptor is a great replacement for Sexton Firebirds. If you like to feel the profile of a Sexton Firebird, then Raptor can totally fill that spot. At least the Raptors that I've tried. Uli cracks me up on the Jomez practice rounds. Yeah, I like listening to Uli. I have a Barham Tour Series Buzz SS, and it's my go-to mid. Aldriel, oh, that's interesting. I really would like to try that one out. I've got too many discs in the, to be tested. Every time you throw a Nate Doss buzz, you have to say Jamie. I'm not on the inside of that joke. What is your most expensive disc? Otto, sought after. I mean, I don't know. It might be one of these like 4 claw mark Macbeth. Those are just kind of crazy right now. But most sentimental disc is one of a couple destroyers that I have. Just some old stuff. I don't know what they'd be worth, but to me, they have value. Hey, Adform, how's it going? Just caught my first MD3. Excited to compare it to my Buzz collection. What kind of MD3 did you get, Adform? C-Line? I really like MD3s, especially the color glow. Is that the same disc rack that once held the sick-looking and infamous Pound Octo Hall? Yes. In fact, the Octo is just around the corner. It's in my other room right now. Adform C-Line. Oh, that's awesome. MD3s are great. I think you'll like it. Maybe you'll find it has just a touch more fade at the end. Repo, if anyone tried to throw heats, what's the most flippy plastic? I'm not sure what plastics they come in, but I'm gonna say ESP would be the most flippy, but I don't know. Aldriel Iron Samurai 2 is a nice one too. I managed to nab one. Very nice. Tony, I still have dreams about that bag. Oh my, it is a nice one. That ESP buzz on that stack is sick. Thanks. Yeah. It is a little bit lighter weight too, 172 grams. The color glow, oh man, that's so expensive, Otto. Yeah, it's too bad that they're that hard to come by right now. Freeman, I had a question about MD3s actually. Do you know any of the other mid-ranges with a similar rim/wing shape to the MD3? I like how they feel, but can never find MD3s. Maybe Rock 3? Rock 3 is kind of a similar feel profile to the MD3, isn't it? A 150 class X-line heat. Oh, Robert, I didn't know they made them in X. Your 165 Ace race was really nice before River ate it. That's a sad story. The first half of that story was great, Robert. The second half is rough. Also, out of all the bags you've used, which is your favorite? Repo, that's tough. I kind of easier for me to split that out and say what my favorites are for different use cases and different sizes and whatnot. Definitely that Pound Octo Hall that I picked all my colors for and whatnot. That one holds a special spot, just because you can go full custom on them. You get exactly the color scheme that you want. Eagles Color Glow MD3. Yeah, I got you, Otto. MD4 is closer to a Rock 3? Okay. Throw them likes up, boys. Thanks, Alex. Trying to round up the cattle. We all want that pound octo haul bag you built. It's definitely a good one. I got this as thinking it would be a backup to a tour series. This one down here has actually been my main thrower buzz. And it is a little bit more on the overstable side. At least that was my understanding for buzz runs. So I went ahead and picked up this ESP thinking it would be a good complement. It is maybe a little bit more domey or something. It has a little bit of a different feel. I definitely like that ESP. I'm gonna put that tour series back in its spot. And then I kind of ended up just going crazy on buzzes because I kept finding really cool ones that I wanted to try out. So here's a pink Big Z. It's still got stickers on there. I got a twin set of TI with the bar stamp on there, but I traded or sold the twin of this away. This one is another special one to me. I've thrown this quite a bit. It is a Tim McDill team stamp from 2016. I don't know who does the artwork for Tim, if he's done this or if he got this from someone else, but I really like the artwork. It's a really cool one. You guys have heard me talk about the Disc Golf Podcast. I've got a TI buzz from them. I really enjoy that podcast, and their Slack group community is just top notch. I spend a ton of time in that Slack group talking about disc golf stuff. And then 2011, 2007, 2005 or 6, I can't tell. It's got the Nate Doss wins on there. This one was my buddy Brandon's. You can see it's a well-loved TI buzz. I haven't really given this one a chance and thrown it a bunch to see how it flies, but I'm sure I will someday. Here is another Tim McDill Team Discraft stamp on a Jawbreaker buzz, and I really want to throw this. I just haven't got into it. The stamps are so cool on the Tim McDill stuff. I love these. Brepo, what is the best way to get into a local disc golf community? I've been playing for years, but as my friends have given up disc golf, I've lost people to play with. Brepo, I would look to see if there's a club of any sort. You know, there might be a forum somewhere that those folks hang out on, or a Facebook club or something like that. Most places that I've traveled through or moved to, I've been able to find out a club of some sort that does little minis or group gatherings that play random draw doubles, anything of that sort. And if you're not used to stepping into those scenarios and having to pay $5 to play and get randomly matched up, that all can be kind of intimidating. But it is for sure the best way to meet new folks out there. I've also just been that guy that sat, near the first hole as well, and see if there's, a friendly person to chat up as they come start their round, and try to figure out a way if I can play with them. Definitely not everybody's ready to add an extra person into their group, even for that round, but you might be surprised if you strike up a conversation. If you've got the time to, sit for 30, 45 minutes or something near the first tee, somebody might come along to play. There it is, Nate Doss buzz. You got it, Alex. And then this is the same tour series that I just showed, that I've been throwing a bunch. And then somebody from the Disc Golf Podcast Slack group put up these for sale, and I just couldn't pass them up. They're just perfect backups for that one that I've been throwing a bunch. I don't know how I justify keep getting backups when I end up with a stack like this of buzzes. I'll never be able to get through all these buzzes in my life, probably. How much disc golf is too much disc golf? I've played more than 500 rounds this year. It's not too much, but that is a lot. How often do you guys play? Yeah, unfortunately, I've really had to cut back on that. I'm fighting a wrist injury right now that just doesn't seem to want to go away. So it's really limiting how much I can get out. Miss Putz is out 5 days a week. That's the dream right there. Continuing with the mid-ranges, here's a Tour Series Meteor. I've really been liking the Meteor. I picked up the Comet and was throwing that just for a while and really enjoying how the Comet flies. But then again, Brandon influenced me and got me to try the Meteor, and it does while it does like very similar things to the Comet, I do find it to be a little bit more comfortable in my hand. And then I've got I had got a backup to that first Comet. That is the rest of my mids. I really don't have very many fairways. I haven't tried a whole bunch. I got a couple just recently from one of my buddies in trade. I haven't like really given them a chance. A Tracker and a Surge SS. These are both older ones for sure. I've thrown them both just a little bit, but still don't know a whole lot about them. I tested quite a number of Onyxes, and this is the only one that like really stuck to me. This one is quite a bit more understable than I think they normally are. This is a super straight flyer for me and has like a fair bit of turn when I crank on it. It's not in the bag, hasn't been in the bag for a little bit. Yeah, I think the Onyx is pretty close to Thunderbirds, but even Thunderbirds vary quite a lot, so there's a lot of room in there. And then we were talking about heats earlier. I've tried a couple heats before, but once I saw this one go up with the Disc Golf Podcast stamp on there, I had to snag this Z heat. I have not even thrown this yet, but couldn't pass it up. And then I've got a couple Haley King stalkers in here. I know old guy was talking about throwing stalkers. The purple one here is what I've thrown a lot, and then I snagged the other one as a backup for it. And I think they're great. I really enjoy throwing the stalker. I believe that when Macbeth came to Discraft, he wanted a Thunderbird, and thus the Annex was born. Yep. Also, that's why they have the Zeus now. Zeus is Macbeth's destroyer. Yep. And this is the last of the Discraft right here. Yeah, Zeus fits into the destroyer spectrum. Zeus's do not vary as much as destroyers do. Destroyer spectrum is gigantic, and the Zeus spectrum is much smaller. The Zeus fits right about in the middle third of destroyer stability. If you were to, divide the stability of destroyers up into thirds, Zeus would be right about in the middle. Maybe slightly to the understable side as well. Yeah, I disagree, Alex. Zeus is not the same as a destroyer. It's hard to say anything is the same as a destroyer because destroyers vary in insane amount. That would be like saying the Force, the Zeus, and the Hades are the same as a destroyer. And that's pretty accurate overlap. All three of those Discraft discs exist within the stability spectrum of destroyers. Maybe the most contentious one out of those would be the Hades. The Hades may be slightly more understable than even the most understable destroyers, but it's darn close. I have an old TI Stalker, and I'm afraid of losing, so I bought a Tour Series one. I need to hit more trees with it because it's a bit more overstable. Robert, yeah, I found them to be very, very stable as well. Those Tour Series stalkers, but I enjoy throwing them. Aldriel, I have a DX Destroyer, an AJ Destroyer, and a Saki Bot. All three are different. Yeah, for sure. Innova in particular is a hard comparison due to the variability. Yeah, Miss Putz. I think that's fair. So on this stack right here, we've got forces on top. This has been I bought a bunch of forces, a whole lot to test them, and a lot of them were these 4X. There was a bunch of them out at that time. I only kept 2 out of a pretty big stack of these that I bought. I kept the most flat one that I found, which is the blue, and then the one with the tallest dome, which is this yellow one here. I don't know if you'll be able to tell very well, but you can. This blue is just bored flat. It's extremely flat, and then the dome on this yellow one is pretty high. It is poppy top on this one. The blue one being flatter is way more comfortable for me forehand, so it's the one that I've actually had in the bag the most. It is not the most recent force that's been in my bag. I also have a Tour Series Hannum force here. I don't believe I've even thrown this one yet, but I believe it to be a force and fly very overstable. I've got a pretty lightweight. This one's like 171 grams. Flag stamp, pink. They all look brand new. Do they even throw? Part of that, Tony, really is actually this light that I've got here. I have a super bright light in front of me that when reflected off of these, it pretty much makes everything look new. I guess it's hard to show even the scrapes on this, but it has been. This has been thrown quite a bit. There, you can start to see in the reflection there, all the scuffs on the bottom of the wing. That bright light makes everything look good, though. Big Z. Giving my camera a workout there. 2020. There's a 2018 Big Z. Another just a normal stamp. And then this is the one that I've actually been throwing the most. This one's been in the bag for quite a while, this ESP. It's got a really cool teal color ring on there, and then on the back it really shows how that plastic mixed. You can see it went from pink on the teal and pink on the front to on the back there's like a little bit of kind of a yellow orangish color bleeding through. And then I think this one came next because it also has that teal to orange blend showing up. But then by the time you get to the front, it's just full like bronzy and orange. I thought that was a really cool find. They're like transition colors really close to each other, a couple of ESPs. That's a lot of force in the arsenal. Yeah. I was going pretty heavy testing. I actually had a stack of forces like maybe that tall or something, and I purged a whole lot of those. I've got a Jomez Tour Series Nuke. When I got all those Lunas from Jomez, I ordered this at the same time. I haven't really given the Nuke a fair chance. Robert, looking at MD3 alternatives, I didn't really see any with the same rim. I throw a Big Z 2020 Ledgestone Wasp for that slot. after almost losing my Shorts Brewing Stamp MD3. Yeah, Robert, I mean, hopefully you'll really just be able to find, the MD3s will be back out there for us by next season. How do the force vary in stability? I've seen them to be flippy or dumb overstable. Alex, out of all of the forces I've bought and tested, I've never flipped one. So, I don't have the 500 plus feet of distance to be able to get a force to flip, especially up at like the 4,800 feet elevation that I'm at right now. So, for me, it's really hard to say. They're just all hyzer machines. I can say that they do vary in the height of their dome quite a bit, and so that's probably affecting their stability, but still not enough for me personally. Someone else was looking for it for the MD3s, Robert. I like the Wasp better, so it was a suggestion for the other guy. Ah, I gotcha. Playing at 6,000 feet in elevation, it's hard to find flippy discs. Yeah, I hear you, Bree. I've been meaning to ask you, how does elevation affect flight? It reduces glide and increases stability. I've been playing with some cranks a little bit, and these are the two cranks that I've currently got, Big Z and normal Z crank. Oh, it was Freeman looking for the MD3s, my bad. Seems like an ideal condition to throw an Opto X Glimmer Stiletto. Yeah. That was sarcasm. I got it. Thanks, Tony. But if anyone is looking for a flippy mid at elevation, the Soul is money. I've seen some cool things done with the Soul, Bree. Yes, it is great at elevation. Especially if you can find the Ace Race ESP ones. Nice. These are all Zeus's. I'll start with the one left. So this is the one Hades I've held on to. I've traded or sold a few Hades away to other folks, but this is the one I've personally kept, especially for throwing forehand when my forehand was still serviceable, when my wrist wasn't dead. I was getting a lot of use out of this, as flying really consistently far for me forehand. I know humidity can make a difference as well. Do any of you notice a difference from high to low humidity? I'm in a very arid climate here. I understand that humidity can, the science backs up that statement, but I've not personally experienced a difference. My wife stole my Z Soul. Had to bring back out my DX Wolf for super unstable mid. I've not seen a wolf in the wild for quite some time, Robert. Mine stole one of my Ace Race ones. The wolf. Yeah, the rare wolf. So I've kind of collected Zeus's, again, for testing purposes. And I have let a number of them go, but others I've been holding. So this is a limited edition. Apparently this is Big Z plastic, a Big Z blend. And then I've got a number of ESPs. I got purple bar stamp twins, which are both pretty domey. I've got this, I've heard folks call it ZSP, where they haven't made the Zeus and Z, but this thing is definitely opaque. It's unique. It definitely has, you can see through it more than ESP. You can see the ridge showing through there up near the top from the stamp on the front, even with that super bright light on it. It's a very, very unique one. Super unique Zeus. Very, very flat also. This is also a pretty flat one, ESP. Another one that's like got a little bit of kind of the transition thing going on. That's maybe got some more Z in there than ESP. And then this is the one I've actually thrown the most, beat up the most. You can see just a little bit of dirt on it in the light, but the reality is this disc is pretty heavily abused. It's the longest flyer for me out of all of them. Alex, yeah, I've also heard that the Big Z Zeus are a little bit more understable. I've not like really tested this one enough to say whether that's the case. I've found that the little bit flatter ones tend to be more understable for me. But what's your longest ace? Otto, I'm not sure. I've had a few, maybe close to 10 aces or so. Most of them pretty short, but I bet I've hit something 300 feet, maybe just over 300 feet. It's been a long time since I've had an ace. I've only had one, I believe in, actually I take that back. I've hit maybe 2 or 3 in Utah. The weird thing is the higher humidity results in less dense air and therefore more stability. Kind of counterintuitive. Audriel, I love that stamp style. On the Zeus here, yeah, I think it's great. What size hoodie do you have on? I think this one is extra large. I can either take it off or I can check my email. Let's see, I must have already put it away. Oh, it's large. This one's, it's large size. I thought maybe went XL. I haven't washed it yet, so it might, I don't know if it's gonna shrink a little. It's great though, it's so comfy. Lola's squeaking down here. She wants to go do something. That's it. That's the end of my Discraft. Six feet tall, Miss Putz. What about comments? Yeah, there were 2 comments in there, Alex. 2 of the 2 tour series comments, the new ones. I haven't thrown comments in the before that, so I can't really speak to. That's it? Only 2 comments? Yes, just 2. Can you show your favorite and oldest discs? Yeah, Otto, I can do that. Let me take another quick break here. I'll be right back. Oh, I thought I clicked unmute. Yeah, it was unmute. Aldriel, I was reading the comment that Clown Sauce and Keegan just posted. That's all. Thanks, guys. How's it going, Keegan? Otto, here's a couple of my oldest discs. I've shown these in previous stream before, but here's an old, here's a real old Innova AVR. This is one of my dad's putters. It's got a nice rainbow stamp on there. And then a old 10-time KC Pro AVR with the bar stamp. It's a classic. Going good. I just found a gold mine of a YouTube creator. Oh, who's that, Keegan? Who did you find? Lola's being feisty. Doth dog. Carson, I think I've got 9 or 10 aces, something like that. I'm not I don't know. I've not, for how many years I've been playing, definitely not nearly as many aces as a lot of other folks. But I have gotten a few every now and then. My oldest discs are a special edition Trevor's. Is that autocorrect? Redbird. Okay, yeah, I figured. Autocorrect, gotcha. And an old Z Comet with either the first or second Discraft HQ stamped into the bottom. Dang. T-Bird. That's a real disc, I can confirm. You got double autocorrected there, Robert. An old special edition T-Bird. Yeah, I had an old T-Bird as well. An old special edition one. I've sold most of those off. Throw those Boababs yet? No. My wrist is really acting up again, so I was throwing the only new disc that I got, the only new AGL that I threw was the Gummy Madrone. I couldn't pass it up. When I was out filming other people's form, I just had to give it a throw. I threw it a couple times. It was super windy, so it's kind of hard to say if it really flies different, but for what it did, it flew exactly like the other Madrone. But it feels so nice. That gummy hemp Madrone is sweet. Carson, just picked up a destroyer after watching your destroyer guide. I got one with a flat wing and a large dome. Oh, that sounds like a bomber, Carson. What's up with your wrist? Tony, I'm not entirely sure. It keeps flaring up just from my job. I mean, I lift a fair bit of heavy stuff, and that seems to flare it up. But I'm at the point I'm just gonna have to go see somebody about it. I kept thinking I was just not being careful enough and letting it heal, but I'm like 8 months in now to messing with it, and I haven't been able to get it right. It's been healthy in the middle, but I keep re-injuring it, so. Something I think you could do is viewer throws breakdown. Could be cool, just an idea. Yeah, Alex, still do have Patreon, and that is one of the things I offered there, was to, if anybody wanted, I'd do a breakdown of their form if they'd send me video, and there was some interest, but nobody followed through and sent me video for it. I do have membership stuff open now for YouTube, so like you can join this channel and get a little badge like Robert has next to his name, and also gives you some emotes like those that I've made. And also, one of the things you can do for being a member, one of the things I've added in there is to do form breakdowns. Sorry to be a copycat, but I just ordered that hoodie. Nice, Miss Putz. What color did you get? Hey, MT Kane, how's it going? Do you have any experience with the MVP Voyager Pro V2 or with the Voyager Lite? How do you like it? Is there any difference between them? They seem completely the same, but the price difference. Kane, I have not messed with the new Voyager bags. I've got an old Voyager up here, actually just out of frame, that I still haven't tested. I have some communication in the past with MVP about reviewing their new Voyager series. They showed interest, but then I kind of, communication stopped and I let it go because I think they're having trouble keeping those bags even in stock. So my intent there is kind of to let them get the bags back in stock, and then I'll reach out again and see if they'll send me some over for review. Even if they don't, it's a bag that I do want to review, so I will, just be buying them myself at some point. But for now, I don't have answers for you. I think the difference between the two is how literally the weight. Miss Putz, you got a red one. Nice. Hell yeah, I'll do that for you as soon as this new job money comes in. Oh, thanks, Alex. Yeah, no worries. I'm not like, all the content that I've been putting out, I will keep putting that stuff out. I'm not like paywalling. I will be putting some special things in there for the members, but if you want to join and get a form breakdown, I'm totally into it. I might have to swap batteries again. I plan on sending a form vid to you, but but I just need to get out with the camera. I don't want to send a month-old form vid. Oh, that makes sense, Miss Putz. I'm going to grab another drink. I'll be right back. All right, we're all set. You guys want to see some pictures I took of a Halloween disc golf tournament that was done here locally? I used to do a lot of photography stuff in the past, but it's been a long time. Bree, 2 questions. What's your favorite course you've ever played, and have you dabbled in disc dyeing? I did dye some discs, oh man, 20 years ago, maybe, Bree? I messed with dyeing a little bit. Favorite course is a tough one. I'm not sure what to say for my favorite. Hi, Werner. How's it going? I can send my buddy's form vid on YouTube right now if you wish to analyze anything. It's in slow motion. Yeah, I don't know how to tell you to send me that, Tony. If you're going to give me a link, you cannot do it through YouTube. You're going to have to find me elsewhere. Facebook, Instagram, something like that. And then you can send me a message. Oh, yes, I can. I sent you some videos when I throw on Instagram if you want to watch it. Okay, Otto. Oh, wait. Hold on. Okay, I do see something going on in my other chat window. Copy this to the end of youtube.com. No, I see it timed out both of your messages there, Tony. Just post, well, whatever. Yeah, I'll try. Okay, I've got it, Tony. He's a lefty. Have you ever played Beaver Ranch? No. I've not played any Colorado courses, Bree. I would like to. I kind of intended to make that happen this summer before all the pandemic stuff went down. I've been thinking about it for a couple of years, though. I definitely would like to road trip and get in a bunch of mountain courses. I got a lot of buddies who are left-handed. I don't know why. Yeah, maybe you just attract them. Do you guys want to see this Tony's buddies form? If you go Beaver Ranch and Bailey are both great. Hard courses right next to each other. Yeah, those are definitely on the short list. I kind of want to do a longer trip to the States and visit some courses. Audriel, there's definitely some good ones in the U.S. This is the link that Disc Golf Fanatic sent over. It's just one short clip in slow-mo. So his disc should probably leave his core right about now. It might be touch early, but that's when most people... Yeah, he's letting it go. So I pick a spot in the background, right? Like this tree here. Or I'll just leave the mouse there. So he did actually yeah, he didn't like let it stall in place. He did start reaching backwards. Hi Doth. Hi Tate Morgan. How's it going? Is that a gerbil? A guinea pig? In your whatever, your little badge there? So I think if your friend would have let the disc hover instead of like actually reaching it back, then he would be setting himself up to have his arm reach maximum lock at about the same time his foot planted, instead of what's happening right here as the disc gets pulled forward while he's like falling into the plant. But still, once he does hit that plant, the disc is at a great height. I mean, definitely pulls into a 90 really well, hitting the power pocket, leading with the elbow. Gotta go work. See you guys. All right, Miss Putz. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time. This dude throws really far, doesn't he? All this talk of disc golf makes me want to go throw. Nice, Bree. Carson, same. Too bad I have to go to work. Yeah. Lots of snow here. Can you watch my throws after this guy? Yes, Otto. I'll go on Instagram. What's your favorite disc? An understable, putter, or mid-range? Hard to pick one, but that's my favorite style. Whoops. Yeah, I think this guy does a lot of stuff good. Hard for me to critique a whole lot. It definitely looks like a really fast, powerful throw. For the most part, his form looks a whole lot cleaner than mine. 130 meters, but close to zero accuracy. Yeah, so what would be really interesting then, Tony, is to have a whole lot of throws recorded. And that's one of the things, even like the videos that I showed earlier, those were only picking some of their throws. I really recorded a lot so I could look for inconsistencies and whatnot. You know, if I just showed off like one throw of theirs, it would be hard to see like the full kind of spectrum of misses. But I don't see anything there that would cause like crazy inconsistencies. That's for sure. You have 10 throws on the same tee pad. On already uploaded or no? Oh, you must have that one listed as private or something, because I don't see it when I click on your on your actual page there. Okay, let me go to Instagram. I'm gonna go play around. I'll catch you on the next live stream. Awesome, Bree. Have a good time. I have them all private. Oh, okay. He tends to shoot discs into the air with nose up or nose down. Yeah, so I bet if you look at the reach back on those, you'll see that they're, I'm just guessing here, I'm guessing you'll see that the reach back is the problem. If they're up or down at the end, they're probably up or down at the beginning. The video is not the best. Hopefully it's good enough. Yeah, I just saved them so that I could open them without having to stay on Instagram. Whoa. I'm just watching these now. The one from, I'm hoping this is a different angle. Overreach back also. For nose control, check out Ezra's video about nose control and what he does to overcome it. Thanks, Patrick. So let's check out this video of that Otto just sent. I think only one of those angles is going to work. Who is Zak Erickson? Tate, Zak is just a local player. That's not a name you should know. He's been playing for just about a year and a half. That's how we started off the stream, was watching video of him and breaking down his form. So here's one of those. The Otto sent over. Let's just go full speed. You know, whoever filmed it wanted to see where the disc went, so they spun the camera to look for the disc instead of staying on your form. Which is going to make it a little bit harder. Let's go kill the playback speed. So let's see if we can go frame by frame here. So let's see if the disc sticks in place. It does. That was like pretty good hover of the disc. Dang it, these young fins like Otto can throw really far. There's definitely a little bit of an odd thing here. I mean, I don't know what angle you're trying to throw on, but take the inside angle of the disc and pull it upwards. Did the camera move there, or was that the initial part of the pull lifted the disc? The camera moved. It's a little hard to tell. Maybe the disc did lift. It looks like there could be a lot of vertical movement there as you're pulling through. And that looks like it's coming pretty high up to your shoulder. Arm is tucked pretty tight. It looks like a good brace. Yeah, I bet you crush, man. It looks like a really aggressive throw. You should probably be giving me tips instead of me trying to give you tips. Looks pretty good, man. Yeah, you're welcome, Otto. Looks pretty good to me. Slightly high pull through, but nothing massive. Yeah. Audrielle, I gotta go to get up early tomorrow. Was fun hanging out. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I probably gotta go here too. I think my dog's gotta go. That dog, Lola, needs to go out. Or she just wants to play, but it's hard to tell. The fact that he's pulling back from an Annie into a hyzer, the fact that he's a good player. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. If you've got any last minute questions you want to shoot, now is the time. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up here, and I'll probably be back on next week. I've already got a few more form videos ready to go. One ready to go, one that's close. Mini pros do that for distance. What's the next bag review for? It's probably going to be the DG cooler bag, the green one that I've got sitting there. Maybe all lefty rounds to test it out, but I'll try to get out regardless just to get some miles on that bag so I can get out a review for it. I particularly like the compressed shoulders and elbow being very far in front of you, along with a great brace. I'll go make some home videos of myself, and perhaps I could get some breakdown as well. Right on, Tony. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody that stopped by to hang out today. It was great to chat with y'all, and hopefully we can get some... hopefully we've all learned some things from watching the different videos. Trying to understand better how different people throw. Great stream. Thanks, Otto. I will catch you guys all